Good evening and salutations, my Days of Alas fans. So, part two, Nicole got a baby back. Eric explains the whole thing about Sloan and the fake adoption and everything like that. So she's overjoyed and super happy, but she also wants Sloan to go to jail for what she did, which is actually pretty laughable, seeing how she did the same thing to Sammy. But okay, sure, whatever. Holly comes back, and she gets told the whole story about how that's her actual brother and, what Sloan did and everything like that. And of course, Holly once again apologizes for the god awful things that she said. And Nicole's like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And part of me is just like, I get that you're able to sit there and forgive her, which is cool. But I'm going to be honest. That to me was just so over the top and like just god awful things that no human being should ever say to someone else. But whatever. I still can't let that go. EJ, the corrupt prick that he is super callous about the whole thing, and he's like, oh, let me sit there and walk you out and thank you for doing the right thing. And I'm just like, part of me is just like, I can't wait until the truth comes out, the whole truth about he knew about the whole pill thing, and especially that, because him losing that first job was not enough. And this dude is actually talking about becoming mayor, so I genuinely cannot wait. As much as I like EJ, I genuinely cannot wait until he loses everything. Everything. And it's just going to be so great. Now, Harris is telling Rafe that he needs more time with this secret project or whatever. And at this point, Rafe is like, listen, I can't do that. I'm already short staffed. But he makes it clear, he's like, I'm taking the time off, whether you approve it or not. So at that point, Rafe was like, all right, fine. Let's just, hope you have a job when you get back. And the same thing with Ava. Ava has to tell Rome about taking some time off and just, she's a little kind of nervous about that because, she just got the job and everything. And, part of me is just like, I find this to be somewhat laughable. Like, I mean, listen, push come to shove, she's not going to be just out on the street destitute or anything like that. Like, she does have connections. She does have a family that will sit there and look out for her. Even if it's mob blood money, it's still money. On top of that, I'm just like, we'll just go back to the bistro. This is seriously stupid. Like, at this point, I feel like she's just slumming it at the Brady pub as opposed to just going back to the bistro. But they send some sort of encrypted message to Clyde, and Clyde takes the base. Now they know exactly where he's at, somewhere in Montana. If you saw the previews, you kind of have an idea what's going to be going down this week, which I'm looking forward to. Steve and John, they talk to Rafe. They talk to Rafe about Gabby and trying to reopen the case, and at least they got Melinda, because EJ was just a scumbag. And granted, Melinda has no love for Gabby, but she does have a love for doing, she will do the right thing by Lee, right? Also, I don't really understand this guilt trip with Ava. Ava's all like, oh, I feel so bad for Wendy because, this is all my fault. Gil was coming after me, and Lee just got caught up. And I'm just like, bro, listen. Gil made his choice. You cannot sit there and take, you're not responsible for Lee's murder. The only person who's responsible for Lee's murder is Gil. He's the one that made the choice to sit there and pull the trigger. So I don't understand what this whole woe is me, I feel guilty because he was coming after me, and poor Wendy. Like, come on, bro. At the end of the day, I mean, granted, if Wendy blames her, then that's just on Wendy. And honestly, tell you the truth, the chick needs therapy anyway, so that's just another thing to talk about in a future therapy session. A couple of things about the scene with Eric and Nicole and the baby and everything. I don't understand There's a point where Erica's trying to leave, and Nicole's like, "Don't you want to sit there and hold him one last time?" I'm like, "You don't think that's gonna make it worse?" Like seriously, you don't think that's gonna make it worse? I know she was overjoyed about having her baby back or whatever. Fine, I get that, but it's like you already feel bad for him, and that's very understanding. And granted, that might have meant a great gesture, like a nice gesture, but it was also very tactless, right? Now, after he leaves, he talks to Rafe, and they go back to his place to try to get Sloan and get her arrested and everything. And they get inside, and everything looks like it's ransacked. And he goes upstairs to try to find her, and she's not there. He's like, "Oh, well, she's gone." I was like, "Did you really think that she was going to stay there to wait to get caught to go to jail?" Like, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know what he was actually thinking when he left. He was like, "Well, don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back to sit there and deal with you and the cops and stuff." Yeah, you're gonna call the cops on me, and I'm gonna sit there and stay. I didn't really care much for the scene with Maggie, Xander, and Sarah. There's a point where Maggie's like, "Listen, I know y'all getting married or whatever, but can I get married first because I want to make sure all my attention is on y'all and not really thinking about what I have to do." And it was kind of a lame reason, but they didn't really question it too much. Um, They talked about Nicole. I mean, they talked about Teresa and Alex moving back in, how much of a mess that's going to be. Xander still don't like Constantine, and he doesn't like Teresa. But Sarah keeps trying to bump his arm, like, "Oh, let's just chill out or whatever." I'm like, stop sitting there trying to tell that man what to do. Like, let him be him. You married him for him. Don't sit there and try to like. They did talk about Bonnie. Now, if you saw the previews, Bonnie's coming back. Um, there's a point where Xander leaves and Sarah has something planned when they go. I guess they're going to go down to, or maybe the honeymoon is going to be wherever he's from. I don't remember where he's from. And I have a feeling it's going to be about trying to contact his mother, which I don't really if I know that that's probably the plan, which I don't really understand how she does not read the room. He pretty much kind of gets very defensive, and he practically shuts down whenever his mother's mentioned, right? And she lets it go, in that one episode. But now it seems like she's trying to bring it back up, and I'm just like, I don't get it. You're not stupid, so and you have to have common sense because you are a doctor. So I don't really understand the need for pushing this. Like if he doesn't want to talk to his mom, he obviously has some very bad feelings about her, and they seem like they have some sort of history. Why don't you just let it go? But I have a feeling she's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm doing it for Victoria's sake." I'm just like, okay, but that's you're still being intrusive on his feelings. I don't really understand how that's not clicking in her head. But I don't know. I never exactly really had that much. Exactly really liked Sarah too much to begin with. I never really hated her, but she was a character that I could just take her or leave a lot of times. Um, I think it's mostly has to do with the fact that it's like being with Xander, knowing who Xander is, and then when Xander acts like Xander, then it's like, oh my god, you're doing something bad. Oh, you know exactly who you're marrying. I don't really understand what's the surprise. Um, there's also a point where Steve is talking to John. They're talking about Clyde, and Steve is like, "Hey, listen, are you willing to sit there and do whatever it takes to take Clyde down? Because if he goes down, he's going to sit there and put us, he's going to put our business on Front Street, and then we're going to practically be leaving Maggie defenseless, which is true." And again, I'm just like, y'all could just wait until his visa expires and just send him packing. No, we got to sit there and talk about try to get him caught up in embezzlement charges because um, I don't even really know why at this point. I don't like I really don't. I mean, I know it's for soap opera dramatics, but other than that, I'm just like Yeah, this seems really unnecessary. I feel like that's about it. This episode wasn't like you can be sitting there folding your laundry and not really pay too much attention to this episode. It was generally just a filler episode before things start to go down this week. Like, I know it's on Peacock, but y'all could have just took the day off and that would have been cool too. Just, just saying. Anyway, if I forgot anything, write it down in the comment section below. Or better yet, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Born and Beautiful, and Young and the Restless. And yes, I know there's no episode of General Hospital, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So, I'll see you in the next video.